Good evening. Today is the 18th of September, and for one final time this year, here we are at the White Horse at Ampfield near Romsey in Hampshire for the classic and interesting car evening. This is a monthly thing they run in April till September. What is a classic car? What is an interesting car? You'd have to ask John, who is the landlord of the pub, to define that, because that is up to him. So I'm tucked out of the way in the other car park this evening as normal, which is fine. I suppose both these two Fords here are classic and interesting. This is a replica of the 1968 Mustang used in Bullet, and it is fantastic. There we go, there is the poster. Early film for Jacqueline Bisset. Peter Yates actually, before he went to Hollywood, used to do episodes of Danger Man in this country as well. But yeah, that is fantastic. Next to it, 65 Ford Falcon, 289 cubic inch engine. Falcon Futura actually, this one. We have seen this before, I think. There's actually quite a few cars here that were present at either the Beaulieu Auto Jumble or more likely the Concord Classics event on Sunday. So you might see some of the same cars that we saw over the weekend, which is fine. Both of these Fords do look very immaculate. This one is an auto. I think the one in Bullet was a manual. Could be wrong about that. Haven't seen that film in a while. We'll move on next to this Baja buggy thing. I think they call this sort of Beetle. Very, very, very 70s shade of this kind of sort of metallic paint. Exposed engine, of course. And then, the engine is just sort of naked really at the back, which is definitely the sort of look that someone would be going for. Look at that. Very, very 70s. 7273 Beetles based on. We've got a green dash in here. Fantastic. Well, we've got some motorcycles as well here. Won't be focusing on them though, views, so I don't really know much about them. This Beetle next to it is also modified, but in a completely different way. We've got, I think I heard some air ride suspension going on, or hydraulic, when it arrived. This is a year older. This is a 71 or 72 on a K. I don't know what engine's in their views. I imagine like the bug thing, Baja bug, that would have been modified. Again, very, very 1970s colour and 1970s interior, which is absolutely fantastic. Sort of Porsche 911, early 911 style wheels on there. Next to it, something rather different, 1958 Morris Isis. And it looks a bit like its ambassador because the four-cylinder cars, the Oxfords, that was what those were based on. And this is for sale. Excellent. Is that £13,500? As Mr. Bill from the Fuel Power channel says, this could be yours. Call 07836 679 844. Excellent. Local car. Yeah, maybe we did see this at the weekend. I can't remember. Answer the comment section below. Trying to fall over this wall, viewers. But we've got an MGA. Now, I should have actually reg-checked this before I came. I've reg-checked quite a few of the cars. For some reason, I didn't do the MGA, which was remiss of me, but never mind. Perhaps there's an information sheet on this, but I very much like that. Look at that. Dark green. It looks sort of black on camera, but it is dark green. And a very, very nice beige leather interior with wooden steering. I mean, does it get any better than that? Also want to put a 5-speed gearbox in there. It'll be a bit easier to use than the original 4-speed, probably no synchro mesh on there. It'll be a bit easier for someone like me. Very ham-fisted when I drive these old cars. So we've got all these photographs on here. Excellent, lots and lots of expensive work. These MGAs are still worth quite a lot of money, actually. I did look the other day, and a car like that, 25, 30 grand perhaps, something like that. Oh, loud bikes in the background. Then we've got more Volkswagen action. I remember from memory, this is a 1960s splitty, right-hand drive. It is in very, very nice condition. I'm not going to count the windows because that could be contentious. But it is rather nice. This has been at quite a few of the events this summer, this particular splitty. I have to move back a bit so I don't fall over here, viewers. There we go. It's another classic. This is the Healey 3000 Mark 1. again, dark green with a beige leather interior with wooden steering wheel and some green piping and some very interesting mirrors. Fantastic viewers. Yeah, these were made, I think, from about 58 onwards to about 1961. That is rather special. And we've got a car that we've seen so many times, viewers. This 356 replica, I think it's a 68 this, based on a Beetles chassis. And is the tennis ball intact? Well, yes it is. Of course it is. Because that is the rule. It must have the tennis ball intact. Then a couple of cars from the 1930s. This one is a 1933 Wolseley Hornet. And yeah, interesting rev counter in there. Actually, it looks relatively conventional drive, although I don't know if it accelerated in the middle. If it accelerated in the middle, that is not going to be my favourite. Not at all. That is rather nice. I wonder what's up. Vintage mine register. Is that registered Morris Minor? I don't know. And then a Singer 9 Le Mans. It was either this car or another car that we saw over the weekend. I don't remember which one it was, but it's a 35, I think, this one. It is actually, this particular car, a four-seater as well. One of my friends actually learned to drive in one of these when he was about 12 in a field because his late father had owned it and it was just around, and so he had a go in it and he crashed it into a wall, which was not the best, but there we go. It was something we sold on and fixed, but yeah. How many of you would like to take driving lessons in a 35 Singer Le Mans? There we go. And then this is a very interesting Porsche 914. It's a right-hand drive, which is extremely rare. It was converted by Crayford, originally built December 69, converted to a right-hand drive by Crayford, and then sold by a Porsche dealer in this country in 1970. Most 914s were not right-hand drive. This is very unusual. Look at these seats, also unusual. The passenger seat is set back further than the driver's seat. So it doesn't, I don't think it adjusts at all, that's just the way it comes. I sort of have a hankering to have a go in one of these at some point in my life. I don't know if that will happen, but, you know, it is an interesting car. They sort of replaced by the first the 912, the rebirth 912, and then the 924. And then another MG here. This has got some history with it. This is I think a 55. Originally sold in the USA and still left-hand drive. One of the very, very last of them, because they've discontinued in favour of the MGA back in 55. And actually this is the 1500 model with the X-Pag engine. Something very special here, I think a lot of you will like this. It's a 1974-75 Ford Escort Mark1 1300E. This has had a ground-up restoration. Unusual in having a sort of full restoration being a four-door rather than a two-door, because most of them I see these days at shows which have had a restoration of this sort of magnitude. They normally are two-door models. This is a four-door. So it's one of the very last. The Mark II came in 75 on an N, but it's correct in I think virtually every detail. I don't know about these mirrors, but we've got all the dash looks correct, gear lever, steering wheel's been retrimmed. I would actually really like to have a go in something like this. This would be the Mark1 Escort for me, would be something like that. Absolutely beautiful. Next to it's something equally exciting really in a way. This 1999 Fiat Coupe. This is the 20 valve non-turbo. It looks good actually, this. I have driven one of these. It was a turbo 20 valve from 1998. That is absolutely brilliant. Typical 90s colour as well. Then we've got this, I think this is a 2005-2006 Porsche Cayman S. This is also an air rider hydraulic. I heard it when it came in, it dropped down. It's not the kind of car, to be honest, I know an awful lot about views, but we do have an awfully big exhaust. Or is that part of this airlift system? Okay, air ride it. I was on my air ride, that's the air ride system. So we can't use the boot then. Never mind. 1999 BMW Z3. I still haven't worked out, but I've seen this before, whether this is a 4 or a 6-cylinder car. I'm sure somebody will tell me. So 5-speed gearbox. The 6-cylinder ones tended to the ones where you could find with a 6-speed manual, whereas this is a 5-speed. So I have no idea. I don't know. We've got this Bristol. It is amazing. This is a a 74 car originally, but in 2009 it was subject to a huge rebuild by the original Bristol factory, one of the very last to have that treatment. In 2010, the rebuild program moved to a completely different works. So yeah, it's known as a 411 Series 6, and it is beautiful. This is the kind of car I would absolutely love, not only to just have a go in, but to own. I'm very much a Bristol person. On either wing you have things like a place for a spare tyre and a bit of luggage space and all sorts of things like that. You know, they were about the same as a Rolls Royce, or maybe more, but they're just a bit more sort of, I don't know, subtle really. Not that Rolls Royces aren't great, but they are. So we've got a couple of Capris here. First one, I think we've seen this before. I think it's a 2-litre S, this one. By this stage, the 2.8 injection was in production, so the S model continued just for the 2 litres until the Laser was launched in 1984. We've got some, I think, wider tyres on this. Very nice colour. I forget the exact name of this. Yeah, 2-litre S. I forget the exact name of this colour, but it's great. Interior looks, I don't know, is that like a later interior or something? I'm not sure. Somebody can tell me if that interior has been changed from the original S1. It might well have been. Another sort of quintessential British classic. 76-77 MG Midget, rubber bumper, which is what I like to see. If you're going to change the bumpers or something on the rubber bumper, just take them off and don't do anything, in my opinion, but that's just me. Yeah. Fantastic. They're a bit difficult to drive because there's not a lot of space for the average person to sit behind the wheel, but as I found out when I drove a 68 model in 2021, nevertheless they are fabulous. Also fabulous is this 1987 Ford Capri 280 Brooklands by Turbo Technics. Now this was registered quite a long time after Capri production finished. It finished in December 1986, but I think it was registered August 87. Very valuable now, not so well regarded back in the day because I think Escort RS turbos and Ford Sierra Cosworth hatches and things like that were on sale at the same time, and so people preferred those. So the Capris were, you know, it took a while to actually sell out, but nowadays people do still want them, and I understand why. Capris are, well, they're fantastic. Here we have a 19, I think it's like a 31 or 32 Triumph Southern Cross. I've seen this before. I had to actually look up what it was the first time, but there we go. Sorry, a 32, 33. Doing about tax disc. Very, very rare car. I mean, like, we don't think of Triumphs like this and we think of something like Dolomites in the 2000s, but that is fantastic. Now, another car from the event on Sunday at Concord Classics, this 69 minor police car that's had some work, like the 5-speed gearbox and the disc brakes fitted, which makes it easier to drive. And then as these minors were in the late 60s as Panda cars, you take a light blue car and put some white doors on it and that'll do. Brilliant. My goodness me, it is a busy evening. Then we've got the Firefrost Red MGTF here, 2005, one of the last of the original series as opposed to the continuation cars that came in 2008. It's in very lovely condition, this actually. A little spoiler as well. I think it's probably just a standard 135. A lot of the 160s actually say on them that it were. And a Land Rover Series 2A, late Series 2A, because the Series 3 came out the very same year, so this would be like a 70 or 71 on a J. Fantastic. When I was a teenager, my twin sister and I actually had the privilege of having someone take us off-roading in one of those, and I sat in the back, which was interesting. Yeah. Right, let's go down to the back and see what other delights we can find. Something else from the Concord Classics event on Sunday. This 76-77 Triumph TR7 V8, looking just as immaculate as it did the other day. Yep, all race prepared. Big long aerial. Fantastic. Got some more Triumphs coming up, of course. It's a bit of Southern Cross, it's a lot older than most of them, but so we've got a special treat down there, which we will see in a second. 57 Morris Minor convertible. I don't know if it was the original plate or if that's just a personal one someone's put on. But again, very, very nice. And someone's done the greatest parking job ever and not hit that wheelbarrow in this left-hand drive 1995 Lancia Delta HF Integrale. The gentleman who owns this, I think, also has a Fiat 131 Mirafiori Sport. So he's into his sort of rare Italian performance cars. Yeah, it's good to see this being used quite a lot and not immaculately clean, because most of them just don't really go out anywhere. But that is a beautiful example, and he's obviously not afraid to use it on like a daily basis. That's fantastic, isn't it? Brilliant. Next to it, I've just been speaking to a gentleman called Rob who owns this car, who also actually runs the Concord Classics event every year, which is quite an undertaking, and his Cobra's immaculate. He got had a few friends who have other Cobras on Sunday. So you would have seen this car in many places, you know, Lockheath it goes to and all sorts of things. And then we've got the first of two Alpha studs that are here. They're both about this age and they're both this colour. This one is not, well, not fitted with the original flat 4 engine. It's actually an electric one. So it's 77 converted to electric in 2020, and actually it's got an Alpha 33 4-wheel drive system in it from the P4 model. Yeah, I mean, I know the engine necessarily weren't to everyone's taste, but that is taking it to quite an extreme to completely re-engineer the car to accept an electric drivetrain. Amazing, it's probably the only electric Alvis I've ever seen. Porsche 911 ST. I think I've seen an ST before. Oh, it's for sale. As Mr. Bill from the Fuel Power channel says, this could be yours. Call 07590 522 999. We featured in a magazine as well. This one will be, interesting, fuel cap in the middle of the bonnet there. This one will be 7475 on an M. We've got the Fuchs alloy wheels on there as well. Triumph TR3. Now I'm not exactly sure what year this is. I did a check on it and it came up as 2018, which is completely wrong. I imagine this has been ported in 2018. These were made in the late 50s, so the 3A came out, what, 58 or something? Something like that. So yeah, it's very nice. Oh, just got caught on a door handle there, viewers. And I managed to untangle myself. My gosh, mild peril for your viewing pleasure. That was worth it though, dark blue with beige leather interior. So let's not get caught on the door handle of this 1958 Ford Anglia 100E. This has been in the same ownership for a long time, 35 years. Richmond Blue, still got the original side valve engine with 3-speed gearbox, and you don't get synchromesh on first, because of course you don't. Family cars of the time, that would not have been very normal to have an entirely synchromesh gearbox. Very, very high standard actually, but I was actually prepared for that. That looks beautiful. 2017 restoration started on that. Then we've got a 68-69 Triumph TR5. The TR5s were discontinued early 69, so that's quite a late one. The TR6s came in on a G as well. And then we've got 3 Stags. We've got red, white and blue Stags. Absolutely extraordinary. I mean, it's not every day you go to just a little local show like this and you see a fine collection of Stags like this. All of them are Mark 2s. They deliberately have been parked like this, which is good. This is a very late one, 77. Very last year of production was 77 for these. This one's a bit earlier, sort of 75, 76 on a P. I'm just trying to sort of pick my favourite. That's hard. They've all got the alloy wheels on them. Have a look at the gearbox and see which one's a manual, which one's an auto. That was an auto. The ratio of the sales of them was sort of 50-50 auto manual. Yeah, it's good. Then this one's got the hard top on it. This one's a manual. Same colour as the one where I filmed actually on the channel last year, this sort of oldish white type colour. That is fantastic. So that's a manual. Is this an auto or manual, this blue one? I should have checked earlier, shouldn't I, viewers? And it's also manual. And we've got the red, white and blue cushions at the back. Because of course we have. Excellent. This MGB kindly moved out of the way so the Stags could park together. Again, like the midget, similar to the era to that, this one's a little bit later, 78, 79 on a T, with rubber bumpers. I did film last year on my channel a it's a yellow one. It was an 81 registered car, although production finished 1980. I wonder if that was registered by MG themselves, because it says Oxford plate, but I don't think actually by that stage they were registering most of the cars in Oxford, mainly in Birmingham. Triumph 2000 Roadster 1949, and before you say it, yes, yes, Bergerac. And the dicky seat is out as well, because of course it is. Fantastic views. Look at that dashboard. There's a single uninterrupted piece of sort of wood in places, although there's some bits of the top of course aren't the same bit. Yeah, we've had sort of things like wipers, washers and lights fitted separately, which is a sensible thing to do. And then we've got more Porsche action, 911. Forget what generation this is now. I'm not good at that sort of stuff, viewers. It's to be quite new. I mean, the 11 plate I don't think is actually registered to the car. This one is a Carrera 4S. And then we've got a very fast looking Renault Sport Clio. I think this will be a Mark 3, so 2009-2010 facelift, the RS model. But I prefer this. Look at this view, it's this lovely Peugeot 309. Let's look at the dash and see if we can see if it's a facelift or not. That looks to me like the pre-facelift one, actually. Could be wrong. Rear end certainly looks like that too. So it'd be like an 88 then in that case, 88, 89. Very nice wheels. 309s, as we found out, well, actually just last week when the review came out, are very, very good cars. Very, very nice indeed here, viewers. I think we've sort of peaked possibly here. 1993-1994 Bentley Turbo R in dark green with a beige leather interior with wooden piping. That looks very, very, very appetising indeed. I do like a nice beige leather interior, viewers. That is just fantastic, isn't it? All the details look correct on it as well. And we got an MX-5 here, original UK car from the look of it. Let's have a look at another aperture at the back, that will tell us for certain, but yeah, the steering wheel looks correct and interior looks all 100% there, yep. Yeah, original UK market MX-5. It's sort of early airbag car, so 96, 97 on a P. Right, next section. Okay, viewers, normally we don't get to go to this section, but we've got so many cars here tonight that they parked some over here. Very late Mark1 Golf GTI, 83, 84 on an A. Might have seen this before actually, one of the things over the weekend, I'm not sure. I've seen so many cars over the last few days that I've forgotten, but that looks quite correct to me. Obviously the interior's all been stripped out and everything. I think those are Mark II wheels actually, but I could be wrong. Yeah, facelift occurred about 1980, correct. Rear lights for the facelifted one. 2014 Polo, let's get this right. There was the 9N was the, sorry, not the 9N, this is the one after that. I think they call it a Mark 5, this Polo. Facelift in Mark 5, 2014. I bet that's fast actually. I don't know what this Audi's doing here, but we can go on to this ND MX-5. Now I have driven one of these recently. It was a year older than this, a 2018, the RF model, which is a folding metal roof. These are fantastic cars to drive. 6-speed manual, beautiful steering, brilliant chassis. The only problem is sometimes they rust a little bit on the bottom, like the Fiat 124 Spider they're related to, but you know, there we go. Still commanding very good prices actually. That's got the very, very basic screen in it, which might be to people's taste a bit more than the sat-nav, but obviously is updated now. Then we're going back a lot further, a BMW 2002. This is from the mid-70s, I think it's on an N, so it'd be 74, 75. Excellent. No, sorry, 75, 76 on a P. And we've got some more Porsche action here. We've got a 356. This one is, I think, an early 60s car from memory. I know the chap who owns it, he's called Bernard. His son has actually bought his Alvis as well. Yeah, it's a Super 90. I think that's about a 62 or something like that. Very, very nice. I'm amazed how much actually this gets used. I see it on all sorts of events from test motor enthusiasts. And then, yeah, as promised, another Alvis, also on an S plate. This one's right-hand drive, and it's actually got the original engine in it, as opposed to the electric one. Similar colour as well. There we go, some boxer engine action in there. Fabulous, isn't it? If I behave myself, I have been asked if I want to have a go in that car, and I would very much like one. I'll have to ask James very nicely if he'll let me do that. I'm just going to insert a bit here, viewers, because right near the end we've had this Alvis Grey Lady turn up. I can't say I've ever seen one of these before. It's from the mid-1950s, December 1955 replica tax disc. Alvis was a very, very, very well-respected manufacturer of expensive cars back in the day. They went under in 1967. I think they merged with Rover for a little bit. But the car at the end were the TF21s. This, I think, is maybe based on a similar chassis to that, but those had bodywork by Graber of Switzerland. This doesn't. This has this traditional Alvis bodywork. Wonderful, very well engineered car. Probably quite traditional in appearance for the mid-50s, but fantastic nevertheless. Whilst he reverses his expensive Cobra replica out of here, we'll have a look at this Range Rover. It is a V8 one, registered locally, OR plate, back in the day. Edelbrock carburettor with the rubber V8 in it. I don't know if that is a 3.5 or a 3.9. But interesting, we've got this olive green colour, but we've got a velour interior, which you know, some of them did have back in the day. Brilliant, it is a Vogue as well. On an E, so it would be sort of 87, 88. You can see we've had some sort of paintwork done over the years, but you know, which Range Rover has original paintwork after more than 35 years. While the light is actually fading, it's interesting filming in the evening like this. This is the last event for the year, and it just remains for me to say thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video and leave a comment below, and we shall see you again very soon next week for even more incorrect information.